Hello everyone, welcome back to another Batman miniature game battle report. Today we have for you 350 rep of the League of Assassins again, getting another showing, going up against 350 rep of the Bane crew. Take a look at the lists. So here is the Bane crew, and it's the Venom Override, whatever it's called, Batbox. All the models from that, so it's being led by Rebirth Bane. Then we've got his various ops, whose names I always forget, but there's Stealth Op, Dreadnought Op, Elite Op. Then there's the two new ones that came with the Batbox, which is the Old Man Sniper, and then the Medic with the, I think it's just a smoke grenade launcher. And the funding for this crew is pretty high. Because it's the Batbox, they get a special rule where one model gets to deny a trait per turn. Like if Demotivate or something gets used on them. Not very relevant, honestly. At least against what we're doing today. But objectives-wise, Titan, Osito, and Ammo. The way Osito the Bear works is essentially it's loot. However, if anybody other than Bane picks it up, Bane gets very angry and will come after them with some bonus stats. So I just noticed that there's a very tiny like Pepsi can drawn on the roof of this Night Models cardboard building. Legally distinct, I'm sure. Anyway, over to the League. And here's the League of Assassins crew. This is the same crew as last time in the last battle report, where they were just barely beaten by the Teen Titans. It was very, very close. Led by Ra's al Ghul with his Assassin's Key, Each, and Guru. Guru has a grapple claw, the one with the bow has extra ammunition. Free Agent Bronze Tiger, and then Fall Guy Carlo Grotti, and Loot, Medical, and Wayne Tech as the objectives. So that's it. We'll be rolling for scenario now, and we'll be back at deployment. So the objective we are doing today is Scenario 1 Arrival. That's when all the objectives are in a 12x12 square in the middle, which is actually a little bit complicated to do because this table setup has a building right smack dab in the middle, almost, of the battlefield, and you can't put objectives on buildings, which is awkward. So we had to space out the objectives a little bit further than the 12x12 to make them fit. Deployment zones, in terms of it's 12x12, then a diagonal. The League rolled, well actually Bane won the roll off and is over here. The League is down here. So the 12x12 was also a little bit hard to place the League because of the XXX bar being here as well, but most of Raish's crew is here. I misspoke when I was going over the crews. I said that the arrow wielding ninja was taking an extra magazine. He took trained in the shadows, which gave him hidden as well, so he is deployed up above with the other assassin so that they can nab objectives early. But that's their basic layout, and again all the objectives are placed around this building, alternating to place per team. So we've got the ammo there, Osito is hidden behind there, Titan is there. The dice are just kind of roughly matching where they are, but we had to make sure they were 4 inches apart, so we had to move the Wayne Tech a little bit further than it should be, but that was the only way to make it legally fit in. In terms of Bane's crew, we've got the two gun wielding ones down here, and well, he has a grenade launcher, but it's mostly support. We have Bane and the rest of his crew down here waiting to basically just charge forwards. So now we just need to see who will be going first, and it's going to be Bane face for Bane obviously, and a lovely mercenary pink for the League of Assassins this time. Also Bane and Raish both have Mastermind, so they can't each other out in terms of having an extra thing, but it will be the League of Assassins going first in Battle Round 1. So as we covered the first objective, totally forgot to mention what the bonus objectives for the scenario were, but we played it before, so I would assume most people already know. But Arrival is the one where you get 3 victory points if you hold an objective at the end of the turn and your opponent does not. First time it happens, that is. If both teams hold an objective, it's 1 victory point each, and 1 victory point to the first team to KO or casualty a model. Anyway, Raish activated, he inspired Carlo and Goro, because free agents aren't affected by Inspire, to give them extra movement. Then he just kind of sauntered up behind one of his League of Assassins. I forget if that's Key or Each. Which one is that? That is Each. His name is One. So that's all he did. Over to Bane. So the Bane crew's first activation was Bane himself, and for his I Will Break You role he picked the one that gives him Master Fighter and one of the boys as his bonus roles. He inspired, so all the henchmen here have an extra movement counter. Then he just kind of moved up and moved around, and he is heading straight for Osito because it's thematically apt, more so than any other reason I think. Back over to the League. So a couple of shuffling movement activations to cover now. Also just pointing out both crews have the same number of models, so there's no passes for anybody, at least at the start here. So this assassin activated, he's now picked up the loot, so it'll be gone once we next come back because it will be on his person. And then the stealth op activated, with the extra movement counter he could comfortably, safely, immediately get into the ammo that is Bane's. So now both teams hold an objective, so I don't think that's going to change, so that'll just be one bonus victory point to each team at the end of the turn. Carlo Grotti activated next, and he moved up and took that sewer grating all the way along here to perch himself on that building. He then spent a special to crouch, which means that the guns down there can't see him. He's going over there to kind of run interference. That building has a nice overlook over the League's objectives, so he wants to be up there to be like, hey, if you come up here, you're going to have to deal with me, although he's not that tough. But the sniper in Bane's crew can't move and fire, and the assault rifle is a lot less deadly if it moves as well, so he might have the advantage, we'll see. So rather than send up someone with a gun who can't do much this turn, the Tomahawk wielding Dreadnought Op, Elite Op, whichever, he activated, moved up, took the sewer for Bane's crew, so that's their sewer movement used up, and he popped up right there. So he's going to cause some problems for Carlo. He caused problems for the guns getting into position to snipe next turn. Bane's crew causes problems to him right back. Two more quick activations that were just basically movement to cover. Bronze Tiger has moved up. He did not have enough even with the extra counter. No, he didn't have an extra counter. He did not get close enough to the medical regardless. The assassin here can though, but he's up there. And then we'll go over here and the support op with his grenade launcher. He already has movement 3 and he had an extra one for Inspire. So he has moved all the way up here, kind of looking down the street towards the direction that Raish is. But didn't do anything this turn to him though. So, back over to the League, and they've got a couple of assassins to pick from. Two more movement-related activations to cover. Goro moved up to roughly there. He then grappled into base-to-base with the medical to claim that. Then we go over here, and the Dreadnought, the Elite Op, I think. The Elite Op, the one with the assault rifle, he moved up. He did not have enough to cover the ground required to get to the Titan, however. So, it comes down to, there's one assassin left for the League, and then the Sniper Op here, which I think is just called Sharpshooter. It's not even Sharpshooter Op, it's just Sharpshooter. Breaks with the naming convention and is very annoying as a result. But anyway, he hasn't gone, but the League assassin with the bow who's sitting on the car over there, he can go, and if he wanted to, he could go claim the Wayne Tech for 2 victory points when the turn ends. But that would make it all the more likely that the Sharpshooter could shoot him. In fact, you could argue actually the Sharpshooter can shoot him right now. So basically it's just, does he want to get out the way? Because the Sharpshooter has a scope, so he can see him despite it being so far. And his sniper rifle is not medium range, like the Arkham Knights. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. So for the last two activations rather, of Battle Round 1, they opted to go for the Wayne Tech, and as you can see, the price was paid. The Sharpshooter only has 2 shots, but he has aim and scope and whatever else, and it's a 4 blood sniper, and if it crits it does 3 blood, or well, bleed 3, sorry, on top of that. Didn't crit, but did do base damage, so that's, is that each? Whichever. He's on 1 endurance remaining, but he is claiming the Wayne Tech, and he is going to claim it, because this is the end of Battle Round 1. The Sharpshooter, it also has reload, so he cannot fire next turn. So that's something else to keep in mind. Alright, we'll be back with recovery and recap. So at the end of Battle Round 1, it's very high scoring, but mostly just because of how weirdly the objectives had to be spaced out and placed. It's going to be high scoring by the end, almost certainly, but blood will start spilling. Well, it already has, but I think turn 2 is going to be a lot more violent, let's say. But in terms of victory points gained, each team gets 1 for the scenario because they both ended the turn claiming at least 1 objective. The League has loot for 1, they have Wayne Tech for 2 and medical for 3, and Bane's crew just has the ammo for 3. They weren't able to get to the Titan, just not quite enough, or a Ceto, but that will change next turn. So, no stun damage or anything to do, because it was just blood that was done. Let's see who is getting first activation in Battle Round 2. It is Bane. Battle Round 2 got started with the Dreadnought Op up here on the building. He unleashed 4 attacks on Carlo Grotti, who had 2 defense dice. He managed to block 2, and then of the 2 that got through, he did nothing. Bit of a mistake with how his counters were dished out though. If he'd had 1 in special, he didn't, he had 1 in defense. He could have activated Devastating Blow for +1 strength, +1 hit, I think, and that would have made 2 hits go through. It wouldn't have been enough to take out Carlo in 1 turn, but would have left him in a bad place. But that's not how he was distributed, so no damage done. So Key activated next, and he's the one who's sitting on the Wayne Tech with the bow and arrow. He only had 2 counters to use, so he just opted to stand and fight, so if he somehow survives the end of the turn, he can still gain 2 victory points. So he shot an arrow into the Elite Op, did 2 blood to him, and is now just stuck there. So the elite op was after some immediate revenge. He fired his rate of fire 3 assault rifle into key, one shot got all the way through for 3 blood. He is dead, and that is a bonus victory point as well for the scenario, for being the first to do a casualty or knockout. He then moved next to the Titan, didn't have the counters to activate it, but he is claiming it. Each activated next and has moved with his loot that he's still holding next to the medical to claim it, just to free up Guru and Bronze Tiger to let them go off and do stuff while he just kind of hides and claims lots of points. And then Bane activated for his crew. He did the most obvious move, which was move next to his lovable bear Osito and picked it up. So he is now holding on to his precious teddy bear and will fight to the death his right to hold it. Carlo Grotti activated next, and his pistol has light on it so he can shoot it at point blank, which is exactly what he did. He did a pretty impressive 2 blood 2 stun to the Dreadnought op. He has 7 endurance, so he's still kicking though, and then he just kind of pulled back a little bit to, I don't know, make him come to the edge of the building. We'll see. Either way, he is hurting pretty bad. Back over to Bane. So a couple of interesting activations. The sharpshooter has just moved his full allocation. He's heading towards the ammo to pick up some more of that because he can't fire his gun this turn anyway. Then Bronze Tiger activated for the League. Came careening around the corner into base to base here. Did a staggering 6 stun damage. He had 2 blood on him already, so he is knocked out. Not dead, but knocked out. Oh wait, he has takedown. Oh, he doesn't have anything in special though, so he can't activate it. Could have been an instant kill there if that was thought through a little bit better. And a couple more activations here. The support op. Couldn't see Raish at the time, so he just moved into contact with the ammo. He did not use it, but he is in contact with it. Raish activated, and he's got good movement, so he's kind of moved up and hiding behind that car there. So all that's left to go is Guru for the League, and then the stealth op for Bane's crew, I think, to take us to the end of the turn. So to see us to the end of round 2, Guru has moved up to the Titan as well. He's basically just following after Bronze Tiger, coming in to do some damage next turn, ideally, I suppose. And then the stealth op charge, Raish, he only had 2 in attack, struck out with 2 attacks. They got through his defense 5, but then they whiffed on the wound roll, so Raish is unharmed. And with that, we're into recovery and recap. At the end of battle round 2, Elite Op has woken up, amazingly, so he will get an activation, assuming he isn't dead. The stun damage on Dreadnought Op was not recovered, so he's still on 2 and 2 respectively. In terms of victory points gained, Bane has Osito for 1 victory point, he has the ammo for 3. He took out a henchman entirely for 1 for knockout, plus 1 for casualty, plus a bonus 1 for being the first casualty / KO of the game from this scenario. So 3 in total there. They no longer hold the Titan, so nothing there. And in terms of the League, they've got the medical for 3, they have the loot for 1, they have knocked out a henchman for 1, and that's it. So things have evened up as we get ready to move into battle round 3. It is time to see who will be going first. Equal chance, and it is the League of Assassins. So to get battle round 3 started, Bronze Tiger activated as he saw this as the best opportunity to do damage to Bane. He swung round the corner, came swinging at him with 5 re-rolling to hit attacks. Bane used a Venom Dose at the start of the turn, however, so 4 stun has been done in total, which isn't that much. He's on 9 endurance, or even maybe more than that actually. Either way, it comes down to 2 because when this Bane uses Venom, he gets invulnerability too. So 2 stun on him, not ideal, and the Pain Train could be getting revenge in a second. The Tomahawk wielding op activated next and tried to take out Carlo Grotti, but once again for the second time, he just whiffed his rolls and did absolutely nothing to him. This was supposed to be a super quick kill on a henchman so he could get back to doing more important things, but Carlo is just laughing at him. The Dreadnought Op can feel a bit better about himself now because he's not the only one rolling appallingly. Raish activated, unleashed 5 Weapon Master attacks on the Stealth Op who only had 2 defense dice, and as you can see, no damage was done. He only needed 3s to wound. 3s to hit rather, but he couldn't. It was embarrassing. So a poor battle round for everyone concerned so far. The Elite Op spent a counter to stand up. He shot his last round of ammunition into Guru at not quite point blank range. They're not in base to base, so he can still fire, but did nothing to him. He missed. That was XCOM chances of missing technically at that range, but he's back on his feet at least, so he's not getting hit on 2s. Goro activated next, and I've been calling him Goro by force of habit. It's Goro, so Goro. Either way, he moved around a little bit into base to base with the Elite Op, even though actually he didn't need to because his weapon has reach, but whatever, did 4 blood to him and has absolutely splattered him. That is a henchman killed. He's only given up one additional victory point though because he was already knocked out prior. Bane activated next, and remember he is hopped up on his Venom. He unleashed 6 attacks on Bronze Tiger, got a crit as well. That's 7 stun right there. That is all his endurance. Bronze Tiger is knocked out. Bane then kind of moved. He isn't touching the Titan because it's contested anyway. His goal was just kind of to block out Guru, whatever it was, again, so that he'd have to spend more movement if he wanted to peel round there. Carlo Grotti activated, and he is just MVP. He shot his last round of ammunition, or rounds, his rate of fire 3, did 3 blood, 3 stun. It's not enough to kill the Dreadnought Op because he's kind of tanky, but he has passed his threshold for getting knocked out. I think he's sitting on 5 blood out of 7 endurance, with that added on, that is. So he's unconscious, and then he moved next to, but did not move through, the Surgrate afterwards. He did really well. The Stealth Op Fighting Raish activated next. 3 attacks, did nothing to him, couldn't get through his defense 5. He then backed off just his base movement over to the lamp post there. Then the assassin that's sitting with the loot and medical just activated and deactivated. He's just staying there generating 4 victory points a turn. So now it's just down to the Sniper Op and the Support Op, I think, and that will take us to the end of the round. So to take us to the end of the halfway point of the game, the Support Op punted a grenade at Raish and just missed the hit roll because obviously it's a hard hit to make. Then the Sniper Support guy activated, he opted to stay still so he could fire his last remaining round of ammunition for now, unless he gets to the ammo next turn. Didn't want to try for Raish's defense 5 again, so he shot at Goro instead, hit him and did 4 blood, and then he wasn't allowed to move because his weapon had aim. Goro's got like 7 endurance I believe, so he's still standing. We'll be back with recovery and recap. And at the end of battle round 3, the Dreadnought Op woke up, as did Bronze Tiger. Bane didn't recover any stun, I don't think anyone else had any. In terms of victory points gained, Bane has Osito for 1, they have the ammo for 3 again. They knocked out a free agent for 3, which is pretty good. The League of Assassins, they have the loot for 1, they have the medical for 3, they knocked out a new henchman for 1, they killed one they'd previously knocked out for another 1, and they don't hold the Wayne Tech, and I think that covers everything, yeah. So on to whomever is getting activation 1 in battle round 4. It's gonna be Mr. Bane to you. So Bane got battle round 4 started and he has hopped up on yet another dose of Venom. He decided to ignore Bronze Tiger and go into Goro. Either or. He did 12 stun, your eyes do not deceive you. All 6 hits got through for full damage. His reinforced gloves, that is 12 stun. Goro is super knocked out. He's double, triple, quadruple knocked out. Raish Al Ghul activated next for the League of Assassins, and I told you this was going to get violent. He chased after Stealth Op, got in with his scimitar, I think it's classed as. Either way, he did 6 blood, outright just murdering him. Also would have done the knockdown, but obviously that's irrelevant because he is beheaded. He's just dead and gone. Back over to Bane. The Support Op activated for Bane next and punted his final grenade, his explosive one that is, not his smoke one, at the knocked over Bronze Tiger, did 1 blood, 2 stun thanks to the crit. So he's re-knocked out, that's him out of ammo. He then shuffled, he didn't have enough to actually use the ammo to get ammo back. He shuffled just to stop Raish doing a cheeky capture on the ammo next turn, even though it might sacrifice himself, but seemed like the best bet. So with so many people dying or being knocked out, we're actually already at the end of battle round 4. We're just going to quickly recap the turns. We'll just start here. The sniper, the sharpshooter, just moved up to the ammo and took some ammo. Carlo up here, without any ammo, he's actually very weak because he's wounding on 5s. He tried to knock out again, the Dreadnought Op failed. He used his defense dice, so he has nothing left to even stand up. He's not knocked out, but he can't do anything, so... Oh, and the League of Assassins assassin round here, he's just sitting and generating 4 victory points a turn. So that takes us to recovery and recap. And at the end of battle round 4, Bronze Tiger has once again woke up. Goro has not, so he's still unconscious as we go into the next round. Victory points gained, Bane still has Osito, they have the ammo for 3 as well. They have the Titan now, because Bane ended his turn on that, for 2. And I think that was it, right? And then for the League of Assassins, they have the loot, they have the medical, they knocked out and then went on to kill a henchman for 2 victory points in total, and that is everything. It's still exceptionally close. Haven't been keeping full total tallies, but it's very close. Alright, so let's see the penultimate turn we'll be starting with, we're alternating, is the League of Assassins. So to get the penultimate battle round started, Ray shall go activated, and he's living up to a Demon's Head title finally by killing 2 people in 2 turns. He got into base to base with the support op, did a staggering 8 blood in total, so that is just an insta-kill. He is gone. Bane is down to just the sniper there himself, and then the knocked down op up on the roof over there. Not in a good place. The sharpshooter activated. He took some ammo from the ammo objective. He then took a shot without moving at the knocked down Bronze Tiger, did 4 blood, not enough to kill him, but it has re-knocked him out again. 2 activations to cover up here on the roof. Carlo tried to hit the knocked down Dreadnought Op and missed. The Dreadnought Op spent a movement to stand up, and then he only had 2 attacks. He put them into Carlo. He got a crit for the extra stun, and that did 3 stun, 2 blood in total, which is exactly how much endurance Carlo has. So he should have ran when he had the chance. He spent too much time on the roof. That's henchman knocked out. So to end off battle round 5, this League of Assassins assassin just stayed put, and then round here, Bane stayed still, so he's still claiming the Titan. He could have grabbed Goro, did like 4 or 5 blood, something like that. And more than enough to kill him, because he only needed to do 3, I think it was. So Goro is gone, and that takes us to rest and recovery. So at the end of battle round 5, Bronze Tiger has woken up for the 3rd turn in a row. Bane healed one of the endurance, one of the stun that's been sitting on his endurance for a while now. In terms of victory points gained, Bane has Osito. They had the ammo for 1 more turn for 3 victory points. They have the Titan for a 2nd turn for 2 more victory points. They removed a henchman who'd been previously knocked out for a victory point, and they knocked out a new henchman for a victory point. The League of Assassins, they've got the loot, they've got the medical, they knocked out and then killed a new henchman in the form of the support op, and I believe that was it. So, we know for a fact that Bane's crew is getting first activation in the final turn. It's going to be pretty quick, I think. Let's go see what happens. So we're just basically going to do a one-shot of the final turn since there wasn't much to be done. This League of Assassins assassin, he's staying still to generate all those points. Raish, he could technically have chased the sharpshooter, whose turn we'll go over in a second, but better to deny a potential 3 by holding on to the loot. The sharpshooter, because he had no ammo and he has reload, just, as I knock over both trees, moved over to try and punch Bronze Tiger unconscious again. He failed, but Bronze Tiger had to use all his defense dice, so he had nothing left to stand up. Then it just came down to what Bane wants to do here, and it's either he could potentially have got around the corner if he had more movement counters, but he didn't. He would have got 1 if he killed Bronze Tiger. He's getting 2 for holding the Titan, and he's holding on to Osito, so that seemed like his best bet. Up here, the Dreadnought Op attacked the downed Carlo Grotti, did 3 blood, and has killed him, so that is an additional 1 victory point up there. So we'll be back with the final scores. So that was a very wonderfully violent match between these 2 crews that were just looking to kill each other. The getting of this particular scenario, Arrival, Scenario 1, definitely helps both teams generate high victory points just because all their objectives have to be in the middle, and you're only, what, 12 inches away, tops? Not even 12 inches, it's about 8 inches away from the corner of the area where deployment of objectives has to be. So most models, if they're fast, and both these crews have fast options, could get to the objectives nice and quick, so it kind of got around to turn 1, everybody just being boring real quick, because from turn 2 onwards it was a bloodbath on both sides. In terms of victory points gained in the final turn, let's see, the League of Assassins have loot and medical, and I don't think they took anybody else out. And then Bane has Titan, Osito, and killed Carlo Grotti for 1. So, the final scores at the end of the game are Bane's crew have 37 and the League of Assassins have 34. It was an exceptionally close match. The League of Assassins was beaten to the post again for the 2nd time, just barely. I'm not sure what else could have been done different, because Race was a beast again. He had 1 turn where he should have killed the stealth op, but he didn't. Just horrific rolls. If he had done that there, he probably would have taken out the sharpshooter. That would have been an extra couple of victory points, but that wouldn't be enough to quite close the gap. Losing, which was the arrow guy, Key, early on because he was hiding behind the Wayne Tech and got shot. Losing him was an extra pair of feet on the floor that could have held another objective. Like, he could have fallen back, held onto the medical, and each could have moved over to the Wayne Tech to hold that. Carlo should definitely have jumped off the roof, well, taking the sewer grating once the Dreadnought Op had been knocked out once, because after that he wasn't worth playing around with, especially when he ran out of ammo. He should have taken the sewer grating, right over there and moved to the Wayne Tech and generated 2 points a couple of turns, because Bane would have to have given up 2 points to go and deal with him. Rebirth Bane is a beast as well. He's I kind of regret that Bane and Raish, did I call him Ben there? Bane and Raish didn't meet in the field of battle this time because they had other things to do, like murdering henchmen and free agents. Bronze Tiger, he did well, but Rebirth Bane is just a ridiculous powerhouse, so it's no surprise that he went down to him, honestly. Didn't have the counters to ever set up his counter attack either, so he was just spending defense as attack or defense. That was a fun one though. I sincerely hope you enjoyed. Look out for more Batman and DC miniature game battle reports in the future. We'll see you then. Start for now.